Hello everybody, I'm Random Bystander here, and I'm a random bystander here who was going to play some Crazy Frog, but then... yeah, we're not doing that. But what can I talk about this week? What gaming company can I talk about for Nintendo November? Sega! Hear that? The sound of the rivals of Nintendo in the early 90s. By the time I was invested in video games, Sega was not making consoles anymore. But before that, Sega was giving Nintendo a run for their money with systems like the Sega Genesis, and their famous Blue Hedgehog mascot, Sonic. Other systems that are well known are the Sega CD, the Sega 32X, and the Dreamcast. All systems I do not have. But during the peak of the console wars, Sega planned to release a new console called the Sega Saturn, and everyone forgot about it. Sure, Sega had a marketing campaign for the Saturn, but while Sega in America had... this, Sega of Japan had a series of commercials starring a martial artist and lover of the Saturn, Segata Sanshiro. And his commercials were really something. Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, Sega Saturn. We're going to be taking a look at those commercials today. But first, a little backstory. Sega had plans to release their console in September of 1995 in the US, but Sega of Japan was getting nervous about Sony's new PlayStation, and Sega made the totally wise decision that didn't backfire of deciding to launch the Saturn in the US the day of E3 in May of that year, at the price of $399. What was the fate of the console in the US? Well, Sony, literally a few moments later, decided the console's chances of success with one word. Or a couple of numbers. $299. So yes, the Sega Saturn was kind of an initial failure, both in the US and worldwide, but in Japan it had initial success. And I think it was because of the Segata commercials, and how creative they were, and how funny and hilarious they are. And even if they weren't, they're really funny and hilarious now. But why talk about it when I can just show it to you now? Also, if you want, the link to the original video compilation is in the description below, just in case you want to see those commercials for yourself. But until then, on with the video. The first one takes place with 3 kids about to play ball. I'm sure this commercial is going to be innocent and fun as Segata tells them about the Sega Saturn. Segata Sanshiro! Sega Saturn! What just happened? These kids were just going to play a game of baseball, and Segata beats the crap out of them, yells at them to play Saturn, and walks away. He's terrifying, but awesome. You better buy a Sega Saturn quickly, otherwise Segata's gonna get you. But the thing that makes the least sense about this commercial? It's advertising Sonic R. Why? The next commercial features a nightclub where innocent civilians are dancing the night away. That is, until Segata strikes. Segata Sanshiro! Segata Sanshiro. Sega Saturn! Another beating, another Saturn endorsement, another advertisement for Shining Force 3. No wonder people in Japan bought a Sega Saturn. They'd be terrified if they didn't. I'd be terrified if I didn't. Well, at least he's just fighting people and maybe killing them. I'm sure he can't do much worse than that. Jesus! Okay, that makes somewhat sense. Also, it's hilarious just to see Segata walk in front of an explosion all action movie style. It really made me laugh. Wow, I wonder where Segata will attack next. Oh no. No, Segata, please, it's Christmas. I mean, it's Thanksgiving, but it's still... don't do it. Oh, it's just Santa. Everything will be okay. That's not Santa. Oh, he just shows them the Saturn and leaves. That's cool. Fun fact, this commercial has an alternate version, which is weird because there's not much differences to it, other than it's a bit longer and the kid is crying. I guess Japan was worried a kid crying would be too much for Japanese television.
Although violence, people blowing up, and Sonic R are fine.
Well, it's been fun seeing Segata beat the crap out of people, but honestly, this is where things get a little bit different, and honestly, a little more silly.
Look at him go, a warrior truly worthy of being associated with a failing console. Yes, he's holding a life-size Saturn, yes, he's training with it, and yes, he has a very catchy theme song. Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, Sega Saturn. And there's an alternate version of this one too, only difference being that there are slightly different games. But all I'm thinking is, how heavy is that console? Segata must be a strong boy. I love it. Next one.
He's going to do it.
Nah, I'm just kidding. He does it flawlessly and then advertises Solo Crisis. Whatever that is. And next we see Segata cosplay as a dragon for Axel Panzer Dragoon RPG. The game is cool and all, but it's funny to see Segata just dance around in a dragon mask. Then he does a Wii Fit yoga pose.
Breathe slowly as you hold this pose.
Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, you madman! Segata doesn't even need skates to shred some ice. God, that must be severely painful. And it advertises winter heat. I tell you, Segata is definitely going to feel the burn. A burn called frostbite. And speaking of heat, we see Segata save someone from a burning building. You know, Segata, I think it would be more effective to do the CPR in a safer environment. Okay, Segata, you're getting a bit creepy. Just go back to selling consoles, please. Then we see Segata at the baseball ring. But if there's one thing we know about Segata, it's that a bat would only slow him down. Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, Sega Saturn, home run! Look at how proud he is. He probably can't even feel his feet from skating anymore, so might as well use it as a weapon, right? Also, greatest 998.
Oh look, Segata versus zombies. Is he just gonna beat them up?
Who knew the House of the Dead would prove to be a challenge for Segata?
We all know marketing icons like that just don't die quickly. If anything, they multiply in numbers. Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, Sega Saturn. So instead of Segata turning into the zombie, the horde of zombies turned into the Segata.
Well, he tried baseball. Might as well give soccer/football a shot too.
Now that's certainly one way to raise your goals in life. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. Mwah.
Again, I just love how happy he looks. It's amazing how Segata has gone from destructive psychopath to lovable marketing icon. He's amazing. He can do anything. Ice skate, play baseball, beat up zombies. Heck, he can even coach. Aw, there's the old Segata that's still there deep down inside.
While our Segata may be tough on the outside, it turns out he does have a sensitive side.
Aw, how precious. Our Segata has finally found love. Look at them bond, play in the flowers, roll around together. It's true love that was meant to be. Also, the new Sakura game is out. Go buy it.
And things got weird again.
What did the poor fish ever do to you, Segata? I'm not sure which is more gross, the fish being mutilated or the graphics of the game. They look awful. I know it's a horror game, but I don't think the people were supposed to be the scariest thing about the game. But at least Segata got some sushi. The next commercial... Honestly, I'm not sure what's happening here. Something to do with Steam? I'm generally confused. The more I look at it, the more I'm perplexed. What game is it advertising? That. Whatever that is. The next commercial is not only a compilation, but an advertisement for Segata's own game. This guy gets his own game on the Sega Saturn.
It's about time.
No gameplay footage or anything like that, but it's in development. I don't know if the game was actually made, but if it was, I kinda do want to do a review on it. Maybe next year. The final commercial takes place at Sega headquarters, where they are waiting for their Dreamcast. But trouble awaits as Sony Tendo launches a missile at Sega headquarters, and just watch.
Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, Sega Saturn, Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, Sega Saturn, Shiro.
Segata Sanshiro!
No. No.
Sega Saturn, Shiro. Sega Saturn, Shiro. Sega Saturn, Shiro. Segata Sanshiro wa
And that is the end of the Segata commercials. They were fun, crazy, wacky, and overall a treat to watch. Again, if you want to experience these commercials for yourself, the link is in the description below. And while Saturns aren't available for retail anymore, Segata will live in our hearts as much as he will live in our fears.
You know, looking at these commercials was a lot of fun, but I don't think we should end Nintendo November on this note. If anything, we should end it on one more game. And in fact, I think I just know the one. Next time, Persona! I'll put the mask on right eventually.